Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Lozzi with BFA Sports, and this is the Tom Kelly Coaches Kickoff Show and a preview of this coming game against Millville here on BFA of the Williamstown Braves football season as we continue. And this is the coach, Tom Kelly. Coach, it's always great to see you, man.
What's up, Chris? How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's always great to see you.
You too.
This is a year that, I actually am enjoying a lot of the kids, how the unsung heroes. You sat in this chair at the beginning of the season. You said, look out for so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. And those so-and-sos have started to perform really well.
Yeah.
Let's start with that tonight.
Yeah, we have a lot of inexperience out there, and we've said that from the start. And those kids who, were really, you can see we're turning the corner, have lived up, to those expectations and even more. So it is a pleasure to see our kids come together, perform, execute at the level that they are, given, the inexperience that we do have there.
So we got both sides of the ball. Let's start on the offensive side. Who has stepped up in your mind that you knew was going to happen, but maybe not this soon?
Zerby, when he was in there, for sure. Zach.
And we'll get into his situation in a minute.
Not because I have my hands in the offensive line, but as a coaching staff, we were definitely concerned. What are we going to do with the offensive line? So some of those kids have played that position, throughout their youth years. But you look at someone like Kai Patterson, he never put his hand in the dirt until this season. We have a freshman at tackle, a sophomore center. The only senior we have is our left guard, Caden Block, and then Ashton Copa, who is used to that position. But, to step in, Group 5, you're playing the top dogs in South Jersey. And the level that they're playing at has been pretty incredible, with a lot of work that still needs to be done. But I don't think anybody expected them to be playing at the level that they're playing at. So that has been definitely a surprise for sure.
On the defensive side, I could tell you, and not just because his father is Pat Gallagher, but Sean Gallagher has had a pretty good early season.
He's been the big one. He's been the big one for sure, and I would also say Mason Brown. It has played tremendously. I said it before when Pat was here. I had the chance to coach Sean as a freshman, and to see where he was then. He never put a helmet on until freshman year, and now what he's doing, man, those 2 years have been incredible. Mason, how he's developed since a freshman. Tyler Bird playing that zero technique. Sometimes when you play that zero technique in a stack, you don't get a lot of the limelight. You don't get the credit for things, but those linebackers are able to go freely because Tyler's eating 2 blocks at a time and sometimes making the play in the backfield. Julian Noel at corner, I think he's been doing a tremendous job. We figure out, okay, who's their best receiver, and it's, all right, Julian, you're going to get to work this week. A lot of those guys have really stepped up there.
Well, we kind of, Coffee and I, we usually spotlight guys like that. Jaden Wright, who missed the first 2 games. Yeah, he's on the stat sheet a lot anyway. We're calling his name a lot. You mentioned Bird. From where we sit, it's interesting that you're now the hunters instead of the hunted.
Yeah.
But let's get into it now. So you're 3-3, and all 3 wins were at home. All 3 losses were on the road. We'll talk about Washington Township. So that was the game that we had on Friday. This game started with a turnover, and what are you thinking at that point? You got the ball in plus territory, and there's a minute off the clock in the game.
Listen, anytime, we knew going into it what kind of team Township was. I'm close with Schatzman in the coaching world, so I have no problem reaching out to him. He congratulated me when I got the job. So we've kept in contact. And during a track meet, I called him and I said, hey, listen, I'm at Township. What are you doing? He said, oh, we're in the weight room. Come on by. So I go over there, I walk in, and I said, oh, my goodness. And I saw the size of these kids and how they're lifting and with the intensity. When it comes to size, I knew, okay, right off the bat, that these guys, they had no interruptions during the offseason. Schatzman does a good job with that offseason program. That we were a little bit of a disadvantage because, we've shut down and everything else. So you get that turnover and you have that go your way. I said, okay, here we go. And then the defense came and, they on their end, they did a good job stopping us. I thought, the first half, we didn't play well. And it's still 14-7. And then you get the tail of two halves, which, is something that I think the kids realized. I didn't really have to hammer it home too much, kind of what I saw on the sideline and, what we were seeing on the field. I think the kids also realized, what had happened. And, once the bleeding starts with something like that and it's hard to stop, it tends to be a long night.
Well, that's we're talking about when it got out of hand. But it's 14-0, and they kick the ball to you, and then Turner, and you're right back in the game. I mean, two plays, you're right back in the game. So the possibilities were there. We saw it up in the booth. They did a great job of stopping the run, I thought, though, other than that. Did you let's talk about Zach. Let's talk about Zach. So, I mean, he has the speed from the quarterback position. I think it's just something right now that's going to be the norm going forward with most of these quarterbacks. I mean, you're running RPOs, and he can run from that position. What are you willing to divulge, first of all, in his condition?
Yeah, Zach's injury is serious. It's a shame, because of the potential that Zach has. I right on the field, I knew the severity of it. So, and when I say we, the offensive staff, myself, Coach Seidenberg, Coach Gallagher, Coach Inge, we took a step back at our personnel to start the season, and we said, okay, who are our best players, and how are we going to make this offense work? And I think you saw for the first several weeks, obviously, number 5, okay?
Oh, yeah.
But then you got someone like Zach to complement off of him, gave defenses some trouble, So, now this happens. You have to kind of reevaluate where you're at now. But that, that was an issue, Teams, and I think Shawnee did a very, very, very good job of, okay, here we go. Here's what we're going to do. You try to beat us passing.
Yep.
Yep. So, in Township did a very, very good job of that. I give them a ton of credit for their game plan.
Sure.
But obviously, with this injury with Zach, I just, especially for him, I feel bad the way it happened.
Any similarities to the prep game, with the exception of the injury to Zach? But I mean, you go in there, you don't have Zach. You have Keyshawn. And Coffey and I say it pretty much every week about how that is a serious threat for defense to contend with, because you don't know who's going to be behind the center.
Right.
I mean, you have a special package, I'm sure, for Zach, and you have a special package, I assume, for Keyshawn as well. Well, now it's going to be Keyshawn, and we don't know how long, and I'm not going to hold you to that.
Right.
But you got to wonder if things, if Zach didn't get hurt. I mean, you're talking about that was a big rivalry game. It, packed house, great atmosphere. So it doesn't help when your starting quarterback goes down. Having said that, you're still in the thick of things. I'm not even going to tell you the rankings or anything like that. That's not necessary. But what is important, though, is that
what's important is the Group 5 rankings.
Exactly.
That's the important thing, and not to catch you off, but it was the first time after that game. I don't like bringing that up to the kids. I don't know if they probably know, but I don't make it clear. So what I have told them is just the truth. Here's where we're at right now. If the season ends tomorrow, here's what happens. The fate of where we go from here, they played a game, So
Right.
they are going to dictate, A, are we going to be in the playoffs? B, where are we going to sit? We're going to be in the middle. We're going to be at the bottom. and see, if things go our way, hopefully we can get a game at home. People don't want to play here. Teams do not want to come here and play.
3-0 at home.
You know that. They don't like coming. It's a hostile environment, and that's the way we like it.
And that's what we're going to talk about next when we come back from the break. Millville is the opponent. They're coming into the Chop House. Big game. We'll talk about it when we come back here on the Coach's Corner Show, exclusively sponsored by Pizza Hut here on BFA Sports.
Order your Pizza Hut faves like Original Pan, Original Stuffed Crust, and more at pizzahut.com. What's the recipe for surprising the kids, treating yourself, and ditching dish duty? You're looking at it. Order your Pizza Hut faves like Original Pan, Original Stuffed Crust, and more at pizzahut.com. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Stops the Hut. Because when it comes to making your favorites, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Coach's Corner Show here from Pizza Hut in Glassboro. I'm Chris Lozzi, along with the coach, Tom Kelly. Williamstown Braves football exclusively sponsored, but you say that again, exclusively sponsored by Pizza Hut, which is where we are. And in our first segment, we talked about Washington Township and a tough loss. You could say lopsided, but, a lot of the intangibles, including Zach's injury. Okay, so 3-3. You're hosting Millville on Friday night. And from where we sit right now, 30,000 feet up in the air, first question, you look at Millville, they're tremendously talented, state powerhouse. How are you guys going to contend?
We have to go back, and this is what I told the players starting Monday. We have got to go back to how we play football. And that just doesn't happen on Friday night. Our preparation, we have got to prepare the way we know, and that's the Braves way. It's something that Coach Fuse has always instilled in our players, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. Paying attention to detail, asking questions when you don't understand something, practicing every rep like a game rep, not taking off. If you have a chance to get in there for scout defense, even if you're on the starting D, then you better get in there for to make yourself better and to give the offense a good look, and vice versa. So we saw that this week. We just came from practice. For a Wednesday practice, I thought it was definitely one of our better ones in recent memory. So, football comes down to blocking and tackling. We have to block well. Mm-hmm. We got to let Turner and those guys do their thing. We have to tackle well because, the Quint Allen, man, what a ball player. You know what I mean? What a ball player. And it's very rare that he goes down on the first tackle. It reminds me a lot, I haven't seen number 5 really get tackled by one guy either. Yeah. So we're going to have to play with speed. We're going to have to tackle well. We're going to have to gang tackle. It's a challenge. Our kids know. It's that's a very, very good ball team, man. Very good ball team for sure.
We've had a lot of history with Millville and being around Dennis Thomas, their coach. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you can shed some light on that might make them a little vulnerable?
What's that, Millville?
Yeah.
Vulnerable?
Take your time.
Nah, they're, they're top to bottom.
Yep.
I think, Pat said it best. When we were scouting Kingsway early on, they were scrimmaging Millville. So, I'm all eyes on Kingsway, but there was a point where I had to slide over to Pat, and I said, where do we start? And he goes, well, now you know what teams were thinking when they were looking at us the past 3 years. They are just that, they are that good. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking anything away from them. We can... we played prep with a lot of heart, mm-hmm. and if a couple things go our way, we can get short field to drive. If we got to make them, drive on us, if we can play sound special teams and, do what we can very well on offense and defense, anything can happen on Friday night.
I think, well, especially with a talent like LaQuint Allen, remember Bill Belichick, all right? What he did, his philosophy he was known for, I'm going to do the thing you do best, mm-hmm. and I'm going to take it away from you. and I'm going to see if you can beat me. So, looking at the Thunderbolts, would you say they run better than they throw, or they throw better than they run?
I mean, they're both elements of that offense.
Mm-hmm.
Their quarterback is phenomenal. Everything's on a dime, tight rope, tight windows. He can lead. The receivers down the field, number 17 is a hell of a ball player on the outside. Then you got to worry about LaQuinn Allen. So they're well balanced. So it just really comes down to, I know I've said this a million times with the defense, get the call, line up correctly, understand your job, and then when you have to make the play, you need to execute. That's it.
Now, on your side of the ball, let's go on the offensive side of the ball for Friday night. Is there anything that you may bring out that we haven't seen yet this year?
No. We just, we during Township, you get into a point where now, you're uncomfortable in the situation that we're at. You don't really prepare for that kind of situation. You're down by a couple touchdowns. You have Keyshawn in the game. We did some stuff that, Keyshawn wasn't comfortable with, but if we can stay out of those scenarios, and just play our football, who knows? This starts with the line. The line's got to communicate because they're bringing pressure from all over the place.
It would not be me if I did not mention the penalties. And there have been a lot. Has that been addressed the best way you could, right? And are you willing to share how you've addressed such an issue? Okay, thank you.
It wouldn't be. No, it wouldn't be appropriate.
But
they know. Some of the penalties you get with inexperience. You know what I mean?
Pre-snap. You talking about pre-snap?
Whether it's pre-snap, whether it's, we run this formation, okay, who's on the line of scrimmage, who's off the line of scrimmage, or, center, with the snap infraction where he's picking the ball up. And, a lot of that has to do with the inexperience, when it happens first time, okay, second time, now, but, when it's over and over and over again, the players know. I don't know.
Okay. Especially when obviously things have to fall into place for Millville and to have a good outcome there. One of them definitely is the penalties to cut down on that.
Yeah.
So and again, because being an official, I've seen some things. I don't know. I saw a backwards lateral. I don't know if you guys saw that. I think it was 2 weeks ago. How have you been behaving on the sideline? I've been getting good reports.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
I'm doing very well. I have Brian Cope. Where's he at?
Brian Cope is enjoying a Pizza Hut, courtesy.
He is
of Ed Herron.
Brian Cope is also the many hats that he wears. He's also my PR. So he tells me when.
That's his third trip to the pizza box.
You might want to tailor it back a little bit, Coach. Maybe you should approach it this way. Yada yada yada. So, my sideline conduct is.
It's good. Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
I
learned from the best. Right, the guy before me, his sideline conduct was.
Oh, definitely not
phenomenal.
I know he's watching, and that's another story. But anyway, all right. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to introduce you to some of the coordinators that you've heard their names on the broadcast, and now you're going to put a face to the name. So we'll be back with more here on the Coach's Corner Show with head coach Tom Kelly of the Williamstown Braves, right here from the Pizza Hut in Glassboro on BFA Sports.
Order your Pizza Hut faves like original pan, original stuffed crust, and more at pizzahut.com. What's the recipe for surprising the kids, treating yourself, and ditching dish duty? You're looking at it. Order your Pizza Hut faves like original pan, original stuffed crust, and more at pizzahut.com. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
No one out-cheeses, out-meats, out-supremes, out-crusts, or out-stuffs the Hut. Because when it comes to making your favorites, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Pizza Hut wings are bigger and better than the other pizza guys' wings. No one outwings the Hut.
No one out-cheeses, out meats, out supremes, out crusts, or outstuffs the Hut. Because when it comes to making your favorites, no one outpizzas the Hut.
And we're back here on the Coach's Corner Show here on BFA from the Pizza Hut in Glassboro, Chris Lozzi. And now I am with one of the members of the coaching staff, a coordinator. He is Mr. Williamstown, Mr. Wade Inge. Good to see you, pal.
You too.
All right. By the way, the last name fits. It's number 5's father. And by the way, before we get into anything with Williamstown, not bad over there down in Delaware State this weekend, huh?
That was a good day. Good day.
Yeah.
Very good win.
There you go. So that's a good thing. So, my friend, I usually get a text from you the day after. I did not. So as we prepare for Millville, and Tom Kelly was in that seat, and it's definitely going to be an uphill battle, no question. But Group 5 points and all those things, a good showing puts you in a good position, correct?
Yes. With our PowerPoints and then the residuals that we'll get from the teams that we did beat and teams that we lost to, we'll still be in good shape.
So now you are on the special team side now?
Yes.
Frank had the special teams, by the way. And he by the way, not to interrupt you, but I will. He made it his goal, and he was very proud of his special teams. He personally took to further. I'm not telling you, but that is something that is a very unsung part of the football team. Especially, I mean, you lose to Miko, bing, D'Arcangelo can kick, and he can kick well. And then he's hurt, and you put a freshman in, and he can kick. So you guys, and then I don't know about fake punts. I don't know if they're designed or not, but I'd put that in the playbook. You're 2 for 2 on that play. I'm talking about Anthony Lantine, two snaps that were low, and he wound up running, for first downs twice.
Over 20 yards both times. I mean, it's good to have an athlete back there that can handle things like that. So, but yeah, Frank did that all those years. I was his assistant, so we did special teams together, and it just carried over. And Tom said, you've done it with Frank all this time, so I'm gonna let you take care of it. And we've worked together. It's a lot of work, but I mean, it's been rewarding. It's been good. We're coming off our best game special teams wise this last week. So
such as.
Besides the snap that was low that turned into a 25-yard first down, all our kicks were good. Our coverage was good. Coverages were good. We got a punt down inside the 10-yard line.
You did.
And
no flags.
No flags, no penalties. And like I said, our coverages, I mean, they only returned a punt 5 yards, I think it was, and their kickoff return was very short also. So they did a good job. No penalties and very good coverage, so I was happy.
How about on return? Are you surprised they didn't kick the ball to your son?
No, because that hasn't happened yet. Actually, St. Augustine kicked to him once, and he's had one punt that he's got his hands on. So I guess they scout, watch film like everybody else, and there's no need to kick to him. They got to deal with him on offense. So we have other guys that can step up and return. So we have enough guys back there.
So you personally, this is your last year.
Yes.
How many did you do?
This is 25, my silver year. So I figured 25 years is a good time to hang it up. And I've done this for a long, long, long time. And I coached for 18 years before my kids got to high school. And I'm going to finish it out with my youngest.
That's it?
Yeah, I'm going to be able to watch both of them play in college next year. My daughter's playing volleyball. So I'll be busy.
She might be the best athlete of the whole bunch, by the way.
She's pretty close, yeah. She might be.
Yeah. Turner, Villanova, Coffee and I say it on the broadcast all the time. You hear her say it, right?
I do.
For now.
For now.
Is that door open?
Not to me, but I'm not in his mind. I mean, me and Alicia were pretty sold on Villanova and what they, the way they recruited him and what they want from him and what they need from him, and it fits perfectly of what he wants to major in and how close we are, and I'm a Wildcat right now unless he changes something.
Can you go from a Brave to a Wildcat?
Yeah.
Again, let's go back to Millville next week. You have anything special in place because of the opponent at all, or is it just going to be execute as usual? I mean, does Allen return punts? I know he returns punts on some occasion. You going to kick it away from him?
Well, we're going to do our best to keep the ball out of the hands of our best athletes.
That's a good answer.
Teams have done that to us, as you just mentioned. That Turner hasn't had. He's back there for punts and kickoffs and had very few opportunities. So we're going to put the ball in places where they're not going to be able to run around in open field, and make them earn it on offense.
How's it feel to be the way the staff, when Tom comes in? I mean, it's a nice mixture. I mean, you've got the new and you got the old. How's that working out for everybody?
It's been very, very good. I mean, some of us were holdovers from last year's staff that we've been around for a while. A couple guys are coming in new, but it meshed very well right away. So it wasn't a thing like, this is how we used to do it. We're going to do this now. This is our staff that we're doing it now, regardless of what it was and what it could be later. This is who we are, and the kids bought into it right away. So that was good.
So you say the kids bought into it, and Coach said in that chair, he said that tonight's practice was one of the best of the season. Do you agree with that?
Yes, it was good, execution wise and effort wise, both of them. So always get both. And kids were running around and flying around doing things right, and it was fun to see the kids get after it and actually do things the right way.
Any mixed emotions at all about hanging it up?
I'm sure it will be when I get there, but right now it's I'm focused on finishing this season and looking forward to what I will be watching in the future with both my sons. So
I expect a text on Saturday.
You'll get one
on my way to my game. All right. Oh man, wait.
All right. Thank you.
Long time assistant coach, 25 years with the Williamstown football program, and he's going to finish up this year as special teams coordinator. When we come back, we're going to bring you another coordinator. We're not going to tell you who it is until we come back here from Pizza Hut in Glassboro on BFA.
Order your Pizza Hut faves like original pan, original stuffed crust, and more at pizzahut.com. What's the recipe for surprising the kids, treating yourself, and ditching dish duty? You're looking at it. Order your Pizza Hut faves like original pan, original stuffed crust, and more at pizzahut.com. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
No one out-cheeses, out-meats, out-supremes, out-crusts, or out-stuffs the Hut. Because when it comes to making your favorites, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Pizza Hut wings are bigger and better than the other pizza guys' wings. No one outwings the Hut.
No one out-cheeses, out-meats, out-supremes, out-crusts, or out-stuffs the Hut. Because when it comes to making your favorites, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Welcome back to the Pizza Hut. This is the Coach's Corner Show here on BFA. I'm Chris Lozzi, and we now have the next coordinator. This is Ray Trailey, right, who is the defensive coordinator in his first year with Williamstown, but certainly not your first year coaching football. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you came over here.
So prior to here, I was at Cherry Hill East for 4 years. That was kind of rough. We had a nice little 0-32 stretch, and I was on the brink of retirement.
Wow.
But I taught with Wade Inge. Wade Inge actually hired me at Overbrook his first year as head coach. I was his offensive coordinator back in 2010. Kind of bounced around a little bit. But when I was at East, I just was kind of like done. I was done with football, and I actually taught with an old defensive line coach from Williamstown last year, Justin George.
Sure.
And he's like, come over with us. And I always tell this story, but I interviewed for a volunteer position in front of 9 people. That's how serious football is at Williamstown. So that was pretty interesting, but I met Mike Seidenberg. He's a good buddy of mine now, and I love being at Williamstown.
The challenges of having a lot of seniors graduate, a lot of new faces, and this defense is performing pretty well this year.
The last 2 weeks, the scoreboard doesn't say so, but, I mean, yeah, these kids have a lot of fight in them. And I always say, keep name dropping, but when I was here in 2019, just working with Doug Banks, and he always asked me, he's like, what's the difference between Williamstown and everywhere else? I said, well, as soon as you tell a kid to do something, they do it. And they do it 110%. So love the way these kids fly around, and they're excited about defense. It's a lot of fun.
It's like a new lease on life in your coaching, right? Nobody wants to come back at 0-32. I get that.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that was a tough stretch.
You primarily, especially coming up on Friday, you've got a major, major task ahead of you, and
Big
that's
time.
to try to shut down LeQuint.
Oh, yeah, big time. He's very diverse runner. Very different than what we saw last week in those two guys, number 1 and number 2. But this kid's big time.
I said it to Tom Kelly earlier. Bill Belichick is famous for looking at a team and seeing what they do better than anything else, and he takes it away from them.
Right.
And then he says, now try to beat me with what else you have left. Do you look at a Millville team from your perspective and say, I'm going to have to try to do this instead of that? Will we see more pressure, for example? Will we see more deep coverage? What will we see Friday night?
I mean, my philosophy forever has always been stop the run, make a high school quarterback throw. That'll be a little difficult this week, to be honest, to stop the run and make the quarterback throw. He's a pretty good quarterback, too. I kind of just stressed to the kids this week, we got to get back to basics. Last 2 weeks were kind of rough. We just got to get better at reading the box. We'll bring pressure like we always do, but, yeah, we just got to get back to basics, stop these guys.
Some of the good things, and we've now done television for 4 years here, and we have seen some unsung heroes actually step up. So let's talk about a couple of Sean Gallagher.
Whew. As soon as I came here, man, I saw him running around. That kid gets me excited. He's undersized. I tell everybody, Sean Gallagher is the epitome of a brave. He is a brave football player, undersized, and just has an unreal motor and always shuts down the edge. One of my favorite players. He's a tough kid.
All right, let's talk about Tyler Bird.
Tyler Bird, big, strong kid, man. I was very impressed with his size when I showed up to the weight room this year. Works hard, very polite kid, and just works his tail off. He's very powerful.
Julian Noel in the secondary.
Whew. He is a talented one, man.
Yeah.
He's just a kid that we can ask to do so many things in coverage, and he'll come up and stick somebody in a run, too. Very talented player.
So who am I missing that you want to make sure they get some pub here?
I mean, my Mike linebacker he's an animal. Turner Inch. I mean,
forget it.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure you guys talk about him a lot. Mason Brown, man. He was a kid. I came into camp. He thought he was a linebacker. We kind of butted heads a little bit, to be honest with you. And I tell everybody that. I kind of wanted to see him down at D-line, and he moved down there, and he's one of the most powerful kids I've ever coached. And he can play both. He comes back and plays Sam linebacker. He'll play Will. He flies around. The most impressive thing is that he just gets in the backfield and causes havoc, and he hits people. He's powerful.
I said to Tom earlier about pressure and about tackling. Tackling has been an issue this year. How do you address that?
Big time. We do tackling circuit every day. I switched it up. We kind of did our gator roll tackling drills, but I switched it up. I brought out the donuts. Coach Seidenberg always makes fun of me. He's like, who uses these donuts? I said, well, we're not tackling. I'm going to try them out and see if they work. And, I mean, the 1 week we used them, we got a little better. But, yep, we got to concentrate on tackling.
Big game. What's your thoughts in your first season? The atmosphere at Williamstown, you said they do things so much differently. Does that fire you up? What do you think about the home crowd here, the Chop House that we call them?
I say that's the best student section in high school football. I've never seen anything like it. Like I said, I was here in 2019, and I was up in the booth, actually, so I got to see it firsthand from behind. And now, I'll be honest, Mike Seidenberg's my booth guy. I never hear him over the headset. It's really loud.
That's all right. We hear him because he's right next to us. And they're fixing that table that he punched last week in Washington Township.
That I did not know, but I'm sure he did.
No. So you're on the field then?
Yeah, I'm down on the field.
Yeah. Yep. You find it a better perspective to be on the field? Some coordinators, I mean, I don't know, did Tom give you the option if you wanted to be upstairs or downstairs, or did he want you downstairs?
He asked me, and I said I wanted to be on the field. I was a booth guy. Believe it or not, I was a wing T offensive guy for my first 15 years of coaching.
Wow.
So I was always the guy that was in the booth, checking out the defensive side. So being in the booth, I love, but I just don't feel comfortable calling it from the booth yet. Mm-hmm. I just don't feel like I could do it. I have to be on the field.
When you say call it, do you bring signals, or do you? We see the cards. Maybe off camera you can tell us what the key is. Yeah. Because I got to tell you, I mean, I also umpire college baseball. Georgetown was the only school that I've ever seen that holds the cards up for a pitch. And I went to I went up to one kid and I said, "Explain to me how this works." And he said, "Well, the Kellogg symbol means it's a slope, it's a curveball." But anyway, you got a rhyme or reason, and the kids get it. It's not an issue at all.
No, not at all. I single in from the sidelines, but I'll be honest. I did something for a while called AFCs, and I kind of handed it over to Turner. So at any point in the game, if he sees something, I'll let him adjust to it.
Wow.
So I'll give 3 or 4 formations and kind of call like 2 or 3 checks to each formation, and he's just got it locked in. He's a very smart kid, so takes a lot of trust. I've only ever trusted one other kid besides Turner, and he was really good at it, but Turner's pretty good at it. He's a high level kid, man.
Do you watch our broadcasts at all?
Yes.
What do you think of Coffee and how when every time we mention Turner, we always say, I say Villanova recruit, and he always adds for now.
Right.
Now Wade was in the chair, his father, and he's like, well, we think that's what, but it's ultimately up to him. Do you see any changes from what this year brings that he could get attention from a Power 5 conference?
I mean, I guess personally I think he could, but I cringe when Coffee says that because I'm very good friends with Turner's father.
Well, we are too, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, I just think he's a high-level kid, and I hope that whatever he decides to do, I mean, he's committed to Villanova, and I'm happy for him, but I hope he just gets the best of whatever is coming to him because he's a great kid, and he's a hard worker.
And one of the few kids that I've ever heard of that had an option of what side of the ball you wanted to play on once you've been recruited. Have you ever heard of that before?
I've never heard of that. So when Coach Inns told me about that, I said, I know he's special, man, and I'm kind of glad they're fighting over him over there. It's pretty awesome.
Last question. Leave us on a good note. What can we expect to see from your defense Friday?
Flying around. 11 hats to football. That's definitely what we're going to be doing this week. Back to basics.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Ray Traley, the new defensive coordinator here at Williamstown, will come back, and we'll introduce you to the new offensive coordinator, but he's not so new. Back with more here on BFA at the Pizza Hut in Glassboro after this.
Order your Pizza Hut faves like Original Pan, Original Stuffed Crust, and more at pizzahut.com. What's the recipe for surprising the kids, treating yourself, and ditching dish duty? You're looking at it. Order your Pizza Hut faves like Original Pan, Original Stuffed Crust, and more at pizzahut.com. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
No one out-cheeses, out-meats, out-supremes, out-crusts, or out-stuffs the Hut. Because when it comes to making your favorites, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Pizza Hut wings are bigger and better than the other pizza guys' wings. No one outwings the Hut.
No one out-cheeses, out-meats, out-supremes, out-crusts, or out-stuffs the Hut. Because when it comes to making your favorites, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Welcome back to the Coach's Corner here at Pizza Hut in Glassboro on BFA Sports. I'm Chris Lozzi. We've had the coaches, of course, Tom Kelly. Then we had Wade Inns. Then we had Ray Traley, the new defensive coordinator. And now we're going to introduce you to a Mr. Seidenberg. The name might be kind of synonymous with defense here in Williamstown, but the offensive coordinator is not Mike. It's his brother, Nick. Nick, how you doing, bud?
Good. Thanks
Good to
for
see you,
having
man.
me. Yep. Thank you.
We have had a lot of fun coming in because your role before you were you were an offensive assistant, right, helping out. And, of course, we win a state championship, and it was just a lot of fun on the sideline. Now you're in a different position. Now it's your offense.
Yeah.
So how's your first year working out?
Yeah, not too bad. Trying to get through the tough challenges of, being a coordinator and not just calling the plays, but setting, practice schedules and what the goal or objective is each week. Pat has really helped a lot, big time with that. I mean, it's kind of easy part, calling the plays. The challenge is how do you maximize your time during each week and each practice and getting the guys in the best position possible to be successful. So I learned a lot, and they're the big challenges, trying to put these guys in the right spot, but being able to maximize that time, which is not a lot of time during a week. So
yeah.
That's the big challenge, I think.
Well, you've had not one challenge but two challenges early on. Number one, you lose a quarterback the first time in the prep game, and now it looks like you're going to lose the quarterback for an extended period of time. And 2, there's a ton of graduation. I mean, this is all new kids coming in. What did that do for you in the off season? How'd you get these kids ready?
I mean, the good thing is I was kind of prepared. Knew a lot of guys that were coming in because being a freshman coach and being around the program, I knew what we had. But yeah, losing guys that, big time guys in the program, Dougie Brown and Donovan, 2-3 year starters, that's a tough challenge. But I knew what we had coming in. I was kind of prepared for it, and making the best out of it and doing what I can. Losing Zach is tough, but we'll make adjustments and try to figure it out.
Well, it's really unfortunate, but you've had the opportunity, at least some experience, by losing Zach. I mean, you had Keyshawn the entire prep game, and then, of course, you had Keyshawn through the majority of the Washington Township game. You didn't bargain for this. So Coffee and I have said on the air often about how an attack with 2 quarterbacks, and you have your own specific disciplines. I mean, you got a package for Keyshawn. You got a package for Zach. Now it's going to be Keyshawn's show. How is that going to affect the offense on Friday?
Well, Keyshawn, his style is he's a lot more, kind of that senior, mature, relaxed, can run, do a lot of little things. Maybe could throw the ball a little bit more. Kind of maybe could put a lot more on his plate. But like you said, in the prep game, he didn't get many reps that week. We kind of weren't expecting that.
Right.
And he came in was it Lenape or Kingsway he came in.
Right.
Finished the game out. Again, didn't get many reps, and he plays well under pressure. He's that type of senior leader. He does things well. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, what we talked about with the other coordinators and with Tom Kelly, you look at the roster, you look at your side of the ball, the givens, 5, 7, 8.
Yep.
Give me somebody that stood out that you didn't think was going to stand out this early in the season.
I would say our offensive line is really stepping up overall. I think they're young, inexperienced, but there's a lot.
Give me a name.
I'll go with our center, Dom. Definitely, I think he's in a tough spot to be the center. It's like the quarterback at offensive line. Being a leader there, and that's a challenge. Also, Gravener, the left tackle, freshman.
It's in his blood.
He's doing, yeah, exactly. His brother Julian,
yeah,
of course. So what we're going to get with him, especially when next year and a junior, senior. I can't wait to see him as a senior. It could be a problem.
Give me another one. Supposedly the best blocking wideout that anyone has ever seen in Williamstown. Who would you go with on that?
Sean Gallagher?
No.
Anthony Lantini.
That's the one.
Yeah, Anthony Lantini's definitely stepping up. I mean, he didn't surprise me. I mean, I kind of knew what type of attitude he had, but the fact that he's actually doing it is it's awesome. I just like to get him more involved in a passing game, but at this point, where we're at in the quarterback situation, our type of schemes this year, I think he's only a junior, so next year he could really step it up big time.
I can't tell you how much trouble I got in with the Lantine family when I called him the punter. So I'm not going to do that anymore. I promise you I'm not.
Hey, he's a good punter.
Yeah. So the challenge this week, how about ball control? That's something we haven't really talked about at all this year. Coffee mentions it a lot, though. Are you going to be able to hold the ball against this team, and is that something that you think you can sustain throughout the game?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to get first downs, get it established, get some momentum, get the ball to our best players. But we need to get first downs and establish drives and things like that. Our DNA is kind of, at least my DNA, my offense to see is big plays. Try to get off the field as fast as possible because it's hard to establish 8-9 play drives and score. Usually scoring drives are usually 3-4 plays. The 5th play is a big play, touchdown. But this week, the goal was just, gain momentum, first downs, and really, challenge them. Move the chains. Yep, exactly.
All right. Leave us with one more thing. What are we going to see Friday night that we have not seen yet on the offense? Anything?
I think you're going to see points. We haven't seen in a while.
Good answer.
You'll see points, and I think our guys are going to come ready to play, and I'm excited. It's a challenge, but we're ready. I mean, we got. It was a tough loss last week. I mean, it's just tough even thinking about it, but I think our guys are ready to roll and ready to prove a point to South Jersey.
the new O-Man, Nick Seidenberg. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll come back with more on the Coach's Corner show here from Glassboro on BFA.
Order your Pizza Hut faves like Original Pan, Original Stuffed Crust, and more at pizzahut.com. What's the recipe for surprising the kids, treating yourself, and ditching dish duty? You're looking at it. Order your Pizza Hut faves like Original Pan, Original Stuffed Crust, and more at pizzahut.com. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
No one
What's the recipe for surprising the kids?
out cheeses, out meats, out supremes, out crusts, or out stuffs the Hut. Because when it comes to making your favorites, no one out pizzas the Hut.
Pizza Hut wings are bigger and better than the other pizza guys' wings. No one outwings the Hut.
No one out cheeses, out meats, out supremes, out crusts, or out stuffs the Hut. Because when it comes to making your favorites, no one out pizzas the Hut.
Welcome back to the Coach's Corner here on BFA Sports. I'm Chris Lozzi. We're at the Pizza Hut in Glassboro, of course, at Heron, the exclusive sponsor of Williamstown football. And you can't say that about many high school programs that have exclusive sponsors, so we're grateful to Pizza Hut. We're back with the head coach, Tom Kelly. You heard all the coordinators, okay? What stands out? How about what Nick said?
He said the most, surprising element of the offense is the O-line.
Nick, you got a 3-year contract.
Uh-huh.
That's what I heard.
He knows. It was a great answer.
On the QT.
Anything
right.
with the O-line is a great answer. These guys know that.
So, all right, let's wrap this one up. I know you. You've been thinking about Friday probably since
After the game ended.
After the game ended, yeah. I've been walking off the field. Focus, number one, obviously.
Maintaining intensity.
Okay.
Maintain the intensity. When we are pregame, as soon as we hit the field, don't let it all go first quarter. Don't let it all go set. You've got to maintain for those 48 minutes. Maintain the intensity.
It's Millville.
That's it.
It's a big one. The Chop House will be ready.
They're ready.
You ready to go?
Yeah, pink out. They're ready.
It's a pink out night. There you go. Breaking news.
Mm-hmm.
So the game is Friday here on BFA. It'll be Chris Lozzi, myself, along with Coffee Jones on the microphone, and Mackenzie Garrett's going to be on the sideline. And you've been good, so we appreciate that.
Me and Mackenzie started off on rough.
That's not. We loved it.
Listen. She's doing a phenomenal job. And Grant, I talked to her. I apologize, and she did say, "Well, you were winning." I didn't. Usually, when someone's winning, the interview goes fairly well. But
I hate telling stories. Well, that's not true. I love telling stories. But when you dropped the headset and you said we're going to win the game, and that was it, she didn't know what to do. God bless.
Well, we did win the game.
Yes, you did.
And I did.
Yes, you did.
Mark Sook was right there as I was walking away, and I said, "Oh boy!" And he said, "What did you say?" And I said, "Well, I guarantee we're going to win the game. So I hope we better win the game."
Not many high school programs have this much coverage, so you're doing a good job.
You guys are doing a good job. Everyone here, you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Come
out
doing a great job.
Friday night at the Chop House. It's the pink out. You care to divulge what you're wearing? What uniforms? Or is that a surprise? That's a surprise.
We're probably going to black it out.
All right.
We're going to black it out.
The blackout on pink night.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. Friday night, 7 o'clock, Millville. All right, I'll be with Coffee Jones on the microphone right here on BFA Sports for the coach, Tom Kelly, for all the coordinators that visited us tonight. Enjoy the game, everybody. This has been BFA Sports coverage of Williamstown Braves football. We'll talk to you Friday night. Good night, everybody.